Hi, I'm Ben.
And I'm Ernie.
And I'm Gabi.
And this is Budget Nerds.
What was all in your mind?
You are not alone.
No, you are not. Well, Ernie, what are we doing today? We have a new person here. Hey, Gabi.
Hi.
We mentioned this in the last episode, a real special episode this time around. We're interviewing Gabi Bradley. Gabi is a fellow YNABer. And we wanted her to come on and talk about her categories because we know how much everyone loves talking about categories. So before we get into that, Gabi, how about you just tell us a little bit about yourself?
Sure, yeah. Fellow Midwesterner here with you, Ernie, holding it down. I'm Gabi. I live here in the Midwest. I am a mom of 2 kids and married for, 6 years now. So,
Nice.
work full-time for a pharmaceutical company here. So, we need YNAB just because life is crazy.
Totally gotcha. And we want to talk about your categories specifically, but we got to hear a little more about your YNAB story. Like, how'd you start YNAB? What's your money story? Like, how'd you get into this?
Yeah. So, my husband and our daughter just turned 4. So back in 2019, I did a weird form of nesting where I was like, we have to get our money in order.
I love that.
I think I kind of drove my husband a little crazy with it, but it worked out in the end. But we had done like Dave Ramsey through our church. We had tried Mint, and none of it just really worked for us. And I'm the primary person who's looking at the budget. My husband just kind of, does what I tell him to do and make sure he has some spending money. We were a couple months out from having my daughter. We were looking at daycares, and I was like, we need a way to really be able to like manage and figure this out.
Yeah. The daycare is like a meteor into your financial life,
yes.
Right? Yeah.
Yes, it really is. And I tell people we go to like one of the cheaper daycares that we could find. So I can't imagine having to pay even more than what we do now. But, so we were looking for something, right? I needed a way for us to keep doing what we were doing. We weren't in like any crazy holes, but I didn't want us to get into a hole. Just not having sort of the insight of really, that security of knowing what our money was doing. So I don't know how I found it. I think I Googled something, and thankfully the algorithms worked in my favor. Found YNAB, signed up for that 34-day trial, and then didn't even look back. Like, as soon as the 34-day trial was over, I was actually a student at the time as well, getting a master's degree. So I was like, great, I'm going to sign up for, using the student discount, which if anybody hasn't done that yet, you need to.
Free year if you're a student, guys. So definitely reach out for it.
And that free year makes a huge difference too. The 34 days is good, to see the software, but, the year of really being able to like, okay, how do I want to use this? What's the best way? And then to take the time to learn. I think I watched every YouTube live or, Facebook live workshop that there was. And that's how we got here. So we never looked back from YNAB.
Love it.
I'm curious.
You go ahead, Ernie.
You said you watched all the videos, took some workshops. What were some of the initial maybe hurdles that you had to overcome with YNAB?
Yeah, so I think in the beginning it was, and even still, it took a couple years to really get to this place where I didn't feel like it had to be like perfect. And by that meaning, I can have a category, and Ernie, I know you talked about this on one of your previous episodes, but like, you don't have to fund every single category, just because it's there. And that was kind of a hurdle that took us a little while to figure out. Credit cards were a little hard, not that hard. We only have one credit card that we use, but it was still tricky trying to figure out like, okay, how do we, you make a return and make sure. So little things like that.
Okay.
But for us, again, I consumed everything. So I feel like there wasn't that much that was too hard. It was really just figuring out, okay, how do we want to make this work for us? And then making the money, like, okay, what adjustments in our life do we need to make so that we can actually fund the things that we want to fund? Those were our challenges.
Love that. You're a lot like me, because I did the Dave Ramsey thing. I used Mint. And then I found YNAB when we found out we were having our first kid. And for me, it was just the cost of childbirth, it was like, oh my gosh. And we had 9 months to save up, and I'm like, okay, well, we need to figure this out. So that's when I found it. So I'm a lot like you. I'm like kind of right along with you on the same track there. So but then there's always some more to learn as you go. I mean, years into using wine, I'm still learning stuff, still changing stuff.
Oh, for sure.
Always changing stuff. I just talked about in the last episode how I'm changing my categories all the time.
Oh, yeah. You'll hear that soon. Well, let's talk about your categories, Gabi. I mean, that's what we're here to talk about, because I mean, Ernie was saying before we started recording, anytime we talk about categories, the budget nerds just eat it up. Because, I mean, everybody likes that, like, oh, like, it's funny because, we're in a community of people all budgeting, but like the budget's also so personal. So like you don't often like share, like open up and say like, here's all my categories and here's what I put in there, So anytime somebody does that, it's everybody flocks to it. So thanks for doing that, by the way.
Of course.
Why don't we go through? So let's start with your category groups. Just the high level stuff. What you got?
Yeah. Okay. So I stole this, and this is where, learning and watching is so super helpful. I have a rule 4. I just copied Ernie and call it rule 4. So that's the very first one. Then we have what we call needs. I can attribute this to like heard it from Hannah, because that's where I got, this kind of structure from. So we have needs, groceries, wants. I have 2 savings categories. One is like no dates, and then one is with dates. You'll see what that is all about when we get there.
Okay, I'm intrigued by
travel. Yeah, we'll see if it makes sense to me. It may not make sense to anybody else. Right. Travel, birthdays, Christmas. I have one we call frozen, wish list, and then there's the credit card category.
Cool. Interesting.
So it seems like a lot. Yeah.
I am so intrigued by so many of these.
Yeah, a lot of groups, but I think it's going to be interesting to see what falls underneath there. So
yeah.
Should we start at the top and work our way down? Rule 4?
Yeah, let's do it. So rule 4.
Do you know off the top of your head how many categories you have?
I meant to look that up. I want to say that it was like 60.
Yeah, right.
50, 60, somewhere in that.
We both had it around there. Ernie's got less now, actually, in an episode I think an episode that's not released yet as we're recording this, but everybody else listening will have heard it. With podcasting, there's all these like time travel stuff going on.
Yes. Yeah.
Yeah, Ernie reduced to around 50, I think. Is that right, Ernie?
In the 40s, mid-40s.
Oh, in the 40s now. Man.
Yeah. Oh, wow.
Yeah. I think I'm still like 60 or something like that. So,
I'll have to go back and look exactly, because I meant to look before this, but totally spaced. The top. So rule 4, I stole this idea from a few episodes ago, Ernie, where you talked about how you had a next month category. You were getting ready to do like one of your first budget with me's, and I was like, that's a fantastic idea. And I like it because I have, that whole thing about not funding every single category every month. It would kind of stress me out if I took each paycheck and assigned it, and then I was like, oh, wait, no, I need, this money to come, something's coming up, so I need this money to go in a different category. So it's nice to just be able to do it all at once. Sometimes a little less exciting, but I still, it works better for me personally.
Right. It's not fun when payday hits because you're like, one category.
Yes.
But yeah, I like building up that next month's budget all in one sitting.
Mm-hmm.
Yes. Yeah. I think it's fun that way. So that's that one. That one's
me,
easy.
I'm the odd man out now because I'm still. Well, I tried it. I talked about this last episode. I tried the whole holding category thing, and I just don't like it. I just like going right in next month and putting money there. So.
And I feel like that's what most of the community likes to do, at least based on the YouTube comments.
Yeah, at least like the power users that are like looking at all the content and all that.
Yeah. I was surprised. I was like, oh, I'm one of the few who uses the holding category. So we'll stay strong with that, Gabi.
Yes. Well, I think it works for us, especially in this season of, just like where our money is and kids in school. I think once our kids are out of daycare and we free up a little bit more of that money, then, maybe I won't feel the need to have that holding category. But for now, it's going to stick. So when I get a raise, AKA my kids leave daycare.
Oh man, we're looking at that. Yeah. I mean, we keep resetting it by having another kid. So it keeps happening.
Well, you're really going to feel rich, Ben, when you guys finally get those kids out of daycare.
Oh man. There'll be something else. I mean, Ernie tells me, well, then they'll be teenagers and they'll be pouring goldfish into their mouth, and you'll be paying tons of money for that. So, there's always something. There's always something.
The goldfish.
Always something. That's funny.
Oh man. All right. What's your next group there?
Next is needs. So in here we have tithes is first. So that's the only thing that I put money in, also on payday is I do the tithes right away. We have mortgage, our security system, car insurance, daycare. We had a new car. So actually I need to remove this category because we paid off our car, cell phone, internet, and then kind of like our utilities category that we pay for. So all of that for us goes into need. And that was really just like, what are the things that we need to just feel good about life, basically.
Right.
And to feel secure. And again, I think I kind of stole that from, that's how Hannah had put it on one of hers, where she had that category. And I was like, that's what I need to do. Did a big restructure at the end of last year because I just didn't feel good about how things were going. So putting needs made me feel really secure with like, okay, as long as I can fund these things, like the rest of it is...
It'll be all right.
Yeah.
Makes sense.
I like that definition because I've said before, like I struggle with the needs versus wants paradigm because everything's everything's a spectrum, like you need clothes, but do you need the fanciest clothes, and it's like, where do you hit that line? But like, I like that where it's like, this is what we need to feel good about life. Like we're going to be okay. Yes. Which for other people might be less or more, I kind of like that idea, that framework. That helps.
Yeah.
And I'm curious, with childcare, is that a weekly expense?
It is. We have the option to pay monthly, but, they just send a bill every week. So
okay, I
have it set up as, like an automation in YNAB. Like I need this amount every week. So it's really helpful when YNAB allows you to, set up those rules and things like that. It really helps.
Yeah, I feel like
especially when you're going between the 4-week month, the 5-week month. I like that need for spending weekly target.
Yes, hands down. And one of the things that we did actually this summer was we only send our kids to school part-time. So we still fund for the entire week. So we actually just have money left over then. It makes you feel like you have a little bit of extra cash. So
that's smart.
Yeah.
I
like that.
Yes. So we keep the habit up, but then if, we don't need it, we can use it for any overspending or, just fun trips or whatever with the kids.
All right. Nice.
Yeah.
Okay, now onto the savings. I'm really interested in the no date versus the date thing and what that means.
Ooh, okay.
Is that your next one? Savings, right?
Well, there were two more. There were two more in between that one.
Oh, okay.
But they'll be fast. Yeah. Well, the next one is groceries.
Let's talk about that. Yeah, you're good for it. Sorry, I jumped the gun there a little bit.
Jumped the gun. It's okay. I mean, I'll just leave you in suspense a little bit longer.
Okay.
But I did groceries, and we do groceries by week. I just could not fathom, wrap my head around the whole, one monthly category for groceries, even though we're just a small family of 4, and we probably eat way too much, processed food, but it's okay. The kids are eating and growing. That's all that matters. So I do have, week 1, week 2, week 3, and even a week 5 that I obviously only fund when there are we go grocery shopping on Saturday or Sunday. So depending on how many kind of weekends I need to go shopping in the month. We do our groceries that way. And then the next category after that is wants. And this is where we put like gas, Spotify, all of our fun money. My son has the most fun money right now. I don't know how, but my husband and I have zero. My kids do this class that's called Kid Strong. That goes in there. Any like grooming, so AKA me getting my hair done or taking my daughter to get her nails done, eating out, gifts, and entertainment. And kind of looked at the wants, where these are things that are a little variable. Like I know gas is not necessarily a want, but I don't have to spend the same amount of money on gas every month. So that's why it just kind of goes in the want, because if I, for whatever reason, need to work from home to save gas money, then I just will. And the other things are things, again, that if we have to get rid of Spotify or reduce, our personal spending money for a short period of time, then we could. And that's kind of how I put those in the want category. Things we want to do, but if we have to take money away from, then we certainly can.
Okay. Yeah, I was going to ask you about the gas. I thought that was really interesting that you put that under want. But it makes sense because your situation is a lot more flexible than some other folks, I guess. So you can.
Yes.
Again, it's that spectrum of like, well, I need some gas, but how much gas do I need? It kind of becomes a want almost. So yeah, it's really interesting.
And then when you're rolling with the punches, are you sticking within these groups?
Yeah, how's that look for you?
Yeah, so when we roll with the punches, I will I try not to take from the wants first, but I will. So, obviously if my husband has something that he really wants, he might give some of my money. I said that wrong. I might give him some of my money, or he might give me some of his, depending on what we do. So we will kind of like help each other out if one of us doesn't have that much, or
that's
again,
a sign of true love right there.
Seriously,
give your partner your personal spending money. That's the ultimate sign of love.
Yeah, and it's usually my husband giving me money. I will admit that. He's a saint, so kudos to him.
Oh, that's
but
nice.
It's usually the eating out, the entertainment. So if we've overspent on groceries, then, or if I know we ate out a lot last month, then I'll be like, okay, we're not going to put that much here in the eating out category for this month. So we'll kind of take from these. Same thing with like entertainment. If we just need to okay, we're not going to go, to the movies, we're just going to watch a movie from home, then obviously, we make those sorts of adjustments. And that's how we kind of roll with the punches. I try to do it within the category group though. That's
what it kind of felt like you were setting up with the structure you have there. So had to ask.
Yeah.
And I have to comment on your emoji game in this group here. I love the personal spending where you don't even have any words at all. You just got like a little picture that represents person. And
sometimes that's annoying when I'm trying to find something quick.
Oh yeah, how do you search for it? Yeah. Like how do you do that?
I don't search. I just go right to it.
Scroll.
Yeah, because I don't I'm the one who uses all of the groups, so I don't have any pinned because they're all, equally important to me. So my husband has his pinned. That's all he needs on his view. But I do everything else. So
Yeah, I'm just thinking because when I categorize a transaction, I'll often just start typing whatever the category should be. Yeah, it comes up. But if it's just emojis, like I didn't even think about that. It didn't go up, but you just scroll to it and you're good.
Yeah, just scroll to it.
Yeah, and I think it's cute because it's just you can visually see it right away, and this is him.
Yeah.
This
and
is
I don't have the emojis or the screenshots in front of me. So are the emojis in the front or the back?
They're on the
you
back.
got them in the back,
Yeah.
Okay.
Back emoji person here because Ernie's a newly emojified budget. We talked about that in the last episode. Yeah. He put him in the front too. So
I think the reason why was because when I initially set up, I did not use emojis, just in trying to figure out if I even liked it. Because, sometimes adding emojis can take you half a day.
It makes it a little cluttered. It just
takes a little time.
That's true too. mean, I remember when I was like, okay, I'm going to put my emojis in the back, and I started doing it, and I'm like, this is taking too long, and I just like stopped doing it, and I never did it. So it's just moving them around. It's just like,
yeah, you just have to have the perfect emoji. So I think also visually, knowing my husband was going to look at it too, like he would probably prefer the words just because he knows exactly what it is. So
right, these mean something to you, but maybe not to him.
Yeah, they mean something to me, but not so much to him. Like when we have a new car and auto maintenance, granted there is like a, the tools on the auto maintenance, but he might be like, what are we doing here? There's 2 cars. How do I know what to do? So I had to simplify for him.
Makes sense.
I love it.
Yeah.
All right. Now on to savings, right? I'm not jumping the gun again, am I?
Yes. No, you're not. We're here. Right. So again, I think I got this one. Again, the idea to do like a savings category from Hannah. So basically I should just also be promoting Heard It from Hannah. If you're not listening to that podcast or that show, just watch it.
I actually love it this whole time. You're like, I got this idea from this piece of content and this idea from this. Yes. You're just deep into the YNAB content machine, and I love it.
That's what makes me a budget nerd. And now I'm here.
Look at you.
Yeah. So, but I had to do it sort of, and we were obviously already had these categories. They were just kind of in different places, and I didn't like where they were. So the savings with no dates, those are things like our medical, home maintenance, auto maintenance, and we also put stuff we forgot. And so these are the ones that we will just like let roll over. And the ones that stuff we forgot, I'll usually pull from that. Like if we have any overspending, it's not a ton, it's just a little bit of money that we set aside. Like, okay, if we make a miscellaneous purchase at a parking garage, then we'll pull it from this category. But obviously listen to a lot of your podcast and a lot of the, early education from YNAB, where it just talks about, planning for those true expenses. And I just kind of wanted a place for them that made them separate, because I think visually for me, it's like savings, I can't touch this. Like, I'm not going to mess with these categories. Whereas if they were just kind of within any other category, that might give me some like leeway to say, oh, I need to cover some overspending. I'm just going to take from here. But I never touch these unless, like today my husband went golfing for the first time in I don't know how many years on Friday. And of course, golf ball hit his windshield. So we'll be spending from the auto maintenance category.
Right.
We're waiting for Safe Flight to come out to the house. So, so it's just, I really wanted those to be separate. They're never open unless we've actually done some spending from those categories. And again, we try to refill that money. We have just a number that we set in our minds that we feel comfortable, like knowing if an emergency comes, this will either fund all of it or most of it. And so we just kind of let those categories roll over. And that's why they are considered to be no dates. They're true expenses, but to me, it's still like saving for the future, which is why I liked calling them that. Yeah.
I like that. I mean, we teach this a lot. Like, there's 2 kinds of true expenses. There's regular expected stuff that has a date, that has an amount that you can generally know. And then there's the stuff that's really unpredictable. Like auto maintenance is a quintessential example. Yeah. And so you've really separated it out by that in here.
Yeah. Yeah.
And are these categories you're funding every month, or are these some of those that depends on the month?
These are some that depends on the month. So, if we get to that number that we've, agreed on, we may not fund it. We might just let it sit there. But, knowing now that we're going to spend from it, at the next month, or even when we look back through at the end of this month, if we have any money left over from some of our other categories, we'll put that back into these categories. So as long as we're at that number we feel sort of comfortable with, then that'll determine whether we fund it or not for the month.
That's super interesting. Yeah, because I see like you had a target for $750 on auto maintenance, for example, just like needed eventually, and yeah, that's super interesting. Because I don't have like a cap on my auto maintenance category. it's always kind of worked out. Like I put in the same amount every month, and it's always kind of worked out to where there's never really too little or too much. But I like this way of doing it where like maybe if you get like a windfall or something, you can just finish it off and just be done with it until you have until a golf ball hits your car.
Yes.
Right.
Yeah. And I think, for us, some of it is also, again, just where we are in life with like our kids in school, that we're paying for daycare. I'm sure that we could always like have a little bit more there and contribute more regularly. It's just right now we had to decide what are we comfortable with at this season of life. And then, in a year when our daughter goes to kindergarten, we'll be able to kind of reevaluate how we want to do that.
Oh, and that happens like if you're putting X amount into auto maintenance every month, and you get real lucky and no golf balls hit your car or nothing breaks down for a long time. I've heard folks say like, I looked at my auto maintenance and it had way more than like any car repair would be, and that could happen. It's just like, you're just like, oh, I actually could have used that $100 or whatever doing something else. So I like that kind of capping it as a kind of an interesting way to approach it.
Yeah. One other thing about this group, I found this interesting. You said your husband isn't involved in much of the day-to-day mechanics. That's pretty much all you. And it's the same with me and Christy. But you mentioned that you decided together on these amounts. Talk a little bit more about that. That's interesting.
Yeah. So I used to be one of those people who, and maybe I still am, but not so much, where, my husband would spend and I'd be like, well, what'd you spend? You didn't enter this, da 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 da. And now it's more just, it's my way of keeping him involved. I mean, and he wants to be involved. He just, he's not great at like having his app with him, thinking of opening up whenever he goes to the store. So
he's not super nerdy about it. He's
not
normal.
super nerdy about it. Yeah. And so for him, at the end of last year, he didn't really feel any way about the budget because he's not in it all of the time. But for me, since I see it all the time, the numbers were sort of not right to me in the categories. So I determined the category structure, which he was happy for me to do. But, we did sit down and we just said, hey, what do we want these things to be? So I did ask him, like, what do we feel comfortable with? And we were fortunate enough, kind of like you said, when we get a windfall, I had a bonus that came in from work and he had one too. So we were like, so now that we can actually fund these categories, like what is the number that we want to shoot for all of the time? So we do, when the time comes, when it's needed, I will say, hey, can we sit and take like 30 minutes to talk about the budget? Like we have this windfall coming up or this money left over, that's more than like $20. And if it's $20, it usually goes to something I want. But if it's more than that, then, I'll say, hey, like, what should we do with this? And it's just a way to make sure that it's not all about me. I think I've heard you two talk about that as well, where when it's one person who's doing it all the time, the budget can very easily become about everything I want. And it still probably is, unfortunately, because my husband is just that type of person. But
it's natural,
it's just natural. He doesn't have a lot that he wants, so whereas I'm like, gimme. And I usually want things that are a bit more expensive than he does. But, I still try to make sure that, his opinions and his thoughts and his desires are reflected in how we spend our money. And, some of it are decisions we make about our kids, what activities they're involved in and, their well-being. So I want to make sure that he's able to contribute to the conversation. So he did help come up with those numbers. I mean, one, he knows a lot more about how much like a car repair is going to cost than I do. So he can kind of talk to some of those things more than I can. I would have probably given like a really not correct number or something that felt almost unattainable, where he was like, this is going to be good for us. And so we went with that.
He's like, in my experience, like we haven't had a car repair more than this amount in a long time. And if it is, we can handle it. So,
I just love how intentional you were, because that's something I struggle with, is because I'm the budget nerd. Christy just says, yeah, she trusts me. She lets me do that kind of thing. So, but I do want to involve her as much as possible. And so that's a really good way to do that. Hey, here are the things, the savings categories. Let's come up with a number together.
Yeah. Yeah.
Cool.
It helps.
All right. Should we move on?
Yeah. Savings with dates. That's the next one. So my second savings category. And so these are those like true expenses, but they have a date to them. But again, things that, now granted, vehicle registration is not something that we could get rid of, but most of these things are things that are sort of like, if we had to get rid of this, we could, or if I don't fund it, obviously if I don't fund these every month, I just have to fund more later. So we have Compassion. We sponsor a little girl, and I do that with some friends of mine, actually. So it's like all of us, and then they pay me in like January or December, their shares of it, and we go that way. Amazon Prime, which is also due in January. Vehicle, so these are listed by date also. Vehicle registration, which ours is due in February, my birthday. Our HOA dues, Costco, YNAB, obviously. Street parking, which if you're wondering what that is, and the little key, that's like a fitness program that I follow. And their whole thing is like consistency is key. So that's the key emoji.
Okay. Nice.
Animal Flow, it's an on-demand, again, this is like another training sort of program, but it's like ground-based, so quadrupedal movement. It's a whole thing if you want to like look it up. It's a lot of fun.
Okay. I like the name.
So that's a subscription. Yeah,
I'm
it is a lot of fun.
I'm intrigued.
You have to just look it up and see people much better than me doing it to get a real flavor for it. But if you want to see, like, to know it's attainable, you could watch me and know, like, oh, anybody can do this. There
you go.
And then the last one in this category is Disney Plus. So
yes, a must if you have little kids, for sure.
Yes, 100%.
For sure,
yes,
for sure.
Definitely worth
teenagers.
it.
I mean, the Marvel movies are all there.
It's got it all.
Yeah.
What can you say? I mean,
There's
they own all of
everyone.
entertainment in the whole world, so
They really do. I noticed that they just put Home Improvement up there. I was very surprised by that.
Really?
Yeah. Yes.
Does it hold up? Have you seen it? I haven't watched it since, like, I guess the 90s. I don't know.
That Tim Allen show?
Yes, that one.
What?
Yeah.
Oh, man. Yeah. I love that show.
So there's something for everyone there, apparently. Okay. Not just teenagers, and you guys can get all nostalgic if you want to.
I'd love to watch that again. I'm wondering if it holds up. I'm like, is this just a nostalgia thing, or is this actually good? I don't know.
Fair enough. So that category, I mean, to me, this group is pretty like straightforward. These are just things that, again, I mean, minus like vehicle registration and HOA dues. If we had to cancel any of these, we could, or put them on hold for a time. That's kind of why they're in this separated out from everything else. And because they have dates.
Even YNAB. I mean, you got the principles. You can make it work if you had to.
I mean, YNAB would be like one of the last ones. I'd probably get rid of, like Disney Plus before I got rid of YNAB. Let's be real.
Oh man, that's serious.
I mean, the kids would just have to watch YouTube at that point. So that's fine. Man,
the horror.
Yeah. Next is travel. And there's right now just one in there. We just took a trip. So I did have 2 trips this year. One I took to Colorado, and another we took as a family to Vegas. So I did have those kind of divided out, but then absorbed those categories just into the like trips vacation. But I did have those other sections where I could like kind of plan for, especially my solo trip. How much money was I going to need to eat out for just me? I had to take shuttles to and from the airport versus like renting a car. And it was my first time taking a solo trip like that. So typically if I have a plan or I know where we're going, I will put those as extra places or extra categories within the group. But right now it's just one group because we don't have any more vacation planned for the year at this time. But sometimes we take little impromptu trips with the kids.
Yeah, I love that. So that's always ever changing kind of a thing.
Yes.
And
in the Midwest, you can reach anywhere. Go ahead.
Yeah,
Sorry.
Right.
Sure.
Absolutely. I was just going to ask if you use the memo field to track the various trips.
Yeah. So in the memo field, it says like Vegas or it says Colorado. And then for eating out, typically, so my eating out category is just that eating out. And again, got this from a Budget Nerd podcast where we talked about the like the name of the person you're paying, the vendor. It doesn't, I never, like there's no McDonald's, there's no Burger King. It just says fast food. So in the memo, I will put like, Vegas, McDonald's, to show that we ate out there, just in case, again, if we ever go back. I think this was a really recent episode you all put out where it talks about like, if we go back, here's how much we spent on eating out. Here's how much we spent on, activities, things like that. So I do use the memo field pretty regularly to just note how much did I spend on each trip. Tell me,
nice. That's always helpful, especially if you're going to the same place later. It's like, how much? Last time we went to Vegas, how much did we spend? You can always kind of look it up. So that's helpful.
100%.
Cool. And this has got the most emojis. Your next group here, the birthdays group.
I don't know why I did that. I guess I was just excited.
It's exciting.
This was actually a new category for us, a new group this year. So birthday. So we have two kids, Emerson, who's actually, that's a boy. So people get confused all the time because it's a gender neutral name. But
sure.
So you have Emerson gift, Emmy party, and then Addie gift, and then Addie party. So what we did this year, even though we grossly overspent on my daughter's birthday party, but that's neither here nor there. We decided to make categories just so that we could, it's one of those things, it was kind of like Christmas last year where it just like popped up on us, even though we knew it was coming all year. And then I was like, oh, where are we going to take this money from? So this year I decided to make category groups for both, a gift from us to them and then also for their party. And so like that will pay for any food that we have, when we have people come over to the house and any decorations. And then we also had a separate category just to make sure we were able to, get them a little something. So it was my first time doing that. And she's 4. And so it took me 4 years to figure out that I needed a birthday party category for my kids.
Yeah, this is interesting actually, because like we have like a category called like gifts and parties or something like that, and we just put a certain amount in there every month, and I feel like there's never enough. I mean, we literally just had a birthday yesterday. My eldest daughter Flora turned 9 yesterday. Oh my goodness. And we always like end up adding money to that category, like from margin or something. It'd be nice to just kind of like have it ready, like with its own category. I'm kind of intrigued by that idea. So yeah, that's kind of interesting.
Yeah, it worked for us for the most part. It was nice to separate out like gifts for other people versus, gifts for my kids, because then it was just like, I didn't feel like, oh, if I spent all of the gift money on Addison, then I still have gift money for, if she gets invited to someone else's party, a month from now, then there's still going to be money there. So that was also some of the thought behind it, just making sure I didn't like spend everything on my kid or everything on someone else's kid and then had nothing for my kids and was like, what are we going to do here?
Keep it a little fair.
Right.
Yeah,
exactly.
Share the wealth.
There you go. Love that. All right. And speaking of gifts, keep moving on to Christmas, right?
Christmas, yes. So this one's kind of a big. So we travel for the holidays. We go home to North Carolina typically. My husband is from here, but we always, since my grandparents are getting older, we try to get back to see them so that they can see the kids. Staying with family is stressful for me, so we do a hotel, at least for a couple of nights.
Okay,
while we're there.
Christian relatives,
yes,
as they say, sink after 3 days.
I've never heard that, but I like it. I won't tell my family.
That's a Benjamin Franklin line. Fishing relatives.
That's great.
After 3 days.
They really do. So yeah, so we make sure that we do a couple of nights in a hotel just so we can, I don't know, have some space to ourselves. So eating out, gas money, and then after that, everybody's names are just like so. My husband's family, so Mason and Kenny are our nephews. Amy and Mike are my brother-in-law and sister-in-law. Justin is my brother. Nora, Andrea, Matt. That's my other brother and his wife and niece. Cindy, Ken, my in-laws, my parents, and then we do set aside money for our kids and then gifts for each of us to get each other as well. So we try to hit everybody who would probably be expecting a gift from us.
Nice.
Yeah.
Yeah, and doing this is fun because you can be like, I like this person, this many dollars worth, right? So that's how you budget, right?
We try to make sure that everybody has the same amount. So like all the adults and then all the nieces and nephews. And then
of course the kids are going to get a different amount than the adults.
Yeah.
Right?
A little different.
Yeah, a little give and take everywhere.
A little give and take. But sometimes the adults are so I'll even use my reward points sometimes at work actually to if I know that my dad just wants a gift card because he's got a project and he needs to go to Lowe's, I'll get that through work. And then I'll take that money and either boost somebody else's gift. Is usually what ends up happening. Somebody else's gift gets a little bit of a boost because I didn't actually have to use the money in the budget. So
totally,
that's the one little loophole that I have with the Christmas.
Yeah, I've had that happen where it's I find the perfect thing for one person and it's a little more than they needed. But this other person, there's a really perfect thing for them, but it's a little less, you kind of give and take. And it's all good.
Yeah. They don't know.
Gabby, do you also do most of the gift shopping yourself? Or is it split pretty evenly between you and your husband?
My husband is responsible sort of for his side of the family. And then I'll sort of tackle my side of the family too. Again, mainly because the adults usually we just kind of, it sounds bad. It's kind of like the equivalent of giving your dad socks. We just give gift cards because
it's too much, man.
It's too much. It's too much.
And we started doing not a secret Santa. Actually, yeah, we did do it as a secret thing before. Well, anyways, just one adult gives to one other adult. Mm-hmm. Instead of every adult has to give to every other adult because it's just too much,
Yes,
when you got kids, it's it adds more and more people and it's just too much.
Yeah. So he's really responsible for getting the gifts for his nephews. I don't know, mainly because I think he knows better what a 13-year-old boy would want than I do. Sure. And then I will get my niece something, mainly just because I know I can text her parents and be like, what doesn't she have and what would you like her, to have? So that's how that works.
The reason I ask is we have one Christmas category, and so everything gets run through that. But my wife does most of the Christmas shopping. She's not the budget nerd, and she's keeping track of all those individual amounts in a notebook. So my guess is if she was a budget nerd, it would probably be actually in YNAB, but
yeah.
I mean, I've talked about this before. I had a separate budget for Christmas.
That's right.
Checking account in that. I had a checking account in that budget that always had to match the Christmas budget, the Christmas category in my other budget. No, it got to be too much. Because I had to double entry, and it was too much to keep up with. So now we just keep track of it in a spreadsheet somewhere. And although now that we have this whole merge feature, we've had it for a few years now. So I say now that I'm so excited about it. When you delete a category, you can merge it with another category very seamlessly. Yeah. I still talk about it like it's new because I just think it's the coolest thing. I've thought about just having a Christmas category we save, and then when Christmas gets close, maybe in November when we start shopping, just breaking out a whole group, and then when we're done, just delete the group and merge it to Christmas. So that could be cool. But I don't know. We'll see. We tried it lots of different ways.
Yeah. So many ways you can go.
Oh yeah. All right, I'm very intrigued. What is this Frozen? Is this like Frozen the movie, or like what's the?
My daughter wishes probably. So this was another one I got from Hannah where she talked about maybe groups that you didn't need to fund or couldn't fund, so you just sort of set aside. And so right now in here we have taxes, savings, investing, in our college 529. So normally they would go up obviously into like our savings categories. But we moved into this. So a little backstory, we moved into this newly built home back in 2021, I think. And, me not knowing that we were only being taxed for like the dirt at the time. So last year, our mortgage went up significantly to the point where we had to, yeah. I mean,
you're like, taxes are so cheap here. This is great.
Yeah. You live and you learn. You live and you learn.
Put a house on it, and all of a sudden,
put a house on it, and all of a sudden they're like, you owe us a little bit more money. And so
yeah.
I liked this idea of having a category where I was like, okay, these are things that we can come back to. And at the time, there were more categories that were in here. These are just kind of the ones that I've sort of left. Mainly, I could put them back because I've actually been funding them. But for a little bit of time, these were things that I just wasn't funding. So even my gym member workout subscription, I wasn't funding that. And it just helped to have a category that I could close and mentally not feel guilty about not funding. So that was a lot of it for me, was just the visual of knowing that I had a category that I couldn't fund. I just needed it. I didn't want to delete it, obviously, because I wanted to come back to it. But I needed that peace of mind of knowing like, okay, I can come back to this when we are, a little settled, and when we kind of get ourselves back to where we were before we had to really take this hit financially. So right now there are taxes in here. That's actually in here because we thankfully got a refund this year, which was nice. So we set aside just a little bit of money in that category, nothing like crazy, just in case, when we do have to pay, it may not hurt as much. But since we didn't have to pay that, I just was like, I can freeze this. I'm not going to contribute to it right now because there are other priorities. And then we were not contributing to our investment and our kids' college 529. But I have been, just when we get a windfall, taking some money and putting it into those things. It just wasn't happening consistently. So really they could move back up into the savings categories because those things aren't funded all of the time anyway. I just haven't made the move yet.
I got you. It's really like a psychological thing. It's just like, I know I got to take care of this, but it's just not for right now, And,
yes.
Yeah. It's a way to kind of file it away. It's there, but it's not like in your face all the time, messing with your mental health, right?
Yeah.
So, yeah, I totally get that.
And then the last one is our wish list. This is almost kind of like a notes thing almost, but we do have some money in here. So my husband wanted a tattoo. He has one of our daughter on his forearm. So he wants to get another one of our son.
You have to. That's like you better. It's going to be awkward if you don't.
It's really funny though. Our kids look very similar, so he could almost double. Just put both of their names under it and say this is you. But you're right. He wants to be fair.
Sure.
He's gonna get another one. So
can't have any more kids though, because you only have so many forearms. So
I know. Yeah, I know. He's actually questioning like the placement of it because he's like, oh man, the head is kind of big, and I what if I wanted them to be together? Like, where do I put it? So it's a whole thing. Right. I don't know. I can't help him with that. I'm not a body art person, so he'll figure it out.
This is his choice.
Yeah. And then we have our family pictures in this category. Animal Flow. So AF Summit means Animal Flow Summit. So every year they host this like 24-hour thing. And I've been able to go to it the last few years. So again, it's just like, if I have money, can we fund this? But if not, it's doesn't change anything for us. And then I'm a garage gym person. So anytime I can get some gym equipment or stuff to go out in the garage, we have that's always just like, can I put some money here and then maybe go find something? If I'm looking for something, then that's a wish list item too. So that's our wish list category.
Cool. Love that.
Nice.
Yeah.
Awesome. Well, this has been a pleasure, Gabi. I've really enjoyed
thank
this.
You. Yeah. It's been fun for me too. This is great.
I love the insight into your life and your priorities. I love the way you've just intentionally thought everything out and shared that with us. So thank you.
No, thank you.
Anything you want to add, Gabi?
No, I mean, other than just, a lot of this, comes from the inspiration of just listening to you all. I think, when you all share about your budgets, like that was super helpful even for me, just because there are things you don't think of or ways to organize things, so really appreciate all YNAB has done, and so glad that you two, have this platform and have used it the way that you've used it. I know it's meant to be sort of funny, like, we're budget nerds, but it's been super helpful too, just because it's always nice to see something with fresh eyes. So this has been really fun. I really
now you're doing the same for everybody else. So look at
Hopefully.
you. That's great. I think so. I mean, I got some ideas, so you got one at least.
Oh, great.
Okay, I just thought of something. Focused views. Yes. Have you been using those?
I haven't used them yet because I'm trying to figure out how I would. I feel like my groupings are so specific already that I don't know how I want to organize them. So totally. I want to use them just because I'm like, way. How cool is this? Like, wow, you guys did this, so I need to use it. But I need to. I just need to figure out how. Yeah. So I mean, if I need to maybe watch some more YouTube videos on focus views to like get some ideas, and then I'll pop them in there.
Yeah, well, it's out now, but right now, during this interview, July 17th, that video's not out yet. But I was the same way. I'm like, I like my groups, and they already kind of slice and dice the categories the way I want.
Yeah.
So what I did is I just went with one category group. I just changed everything up, and now I use the
Ernie blew it up.
views to slice and dice.
Oh, okay.
So,
all right.
Kind of interesting.
I might have to do a refresh and like just test it out, see how that goes.
I think that's what Ben was going to do, right? Because then you have the undo button. You can always go back or make a fresh start.
I mean, I always say I'm going to change something, but we'll see.
It's hard.
I do remember a request from my wife to stop moving things around at one point, and that would be quite I'd have to get her in on it because that would be quite a large breach of that request to delete all my category groups and start over.
All right, friends. Thanks so much for tuning in. Thanks, Ian and Gabi, for joining the show. Loved having you here. And we'll be back in 2 weeks. And until then, happy budgeting.
Happy budgeting.
Bye.